Exactly. So it's good for me to be sleeper because it makes you burn more cards to try to get me off of the map.
Now, do you need to be active to perform certain actions?
I do, and I'll go over mine real quick at the end for you. But yes, to do things, I'm going to have to go active. So we've done disrupt, and that's one that you're going to use a lot of because when your funding starts to take a crap, I mean when your prestige starts to go in the tank, that's one of the quickest ways that you can get your funding up, your prestige up. I'm sorry, and it's something that the U.S. side does a lot of disrupting. The next one is an alert, and what you're trying to do is you're trying to remove a terror plot. During the game, I'll be trying to drop down terror plots to keep my funding high. So the purpose of an alert for you is to block or remove a terror plot. To target any country with a terror plot. So any country that has a terror plot, you can try to get rid of it. Special, you must use a 3-op card to do it. Or, I'm sorry, you need to use 3 ops. So if you have a 3-op card, you just say, I'm playing it, get rid of that, get that plot off the board. Or let's say you had 1 in reserves, and you play a 2-op card, take the 1 in reserves to make it 3, and get rid of a terror plot. So it's not a bad idea for the U.S. player to put some in reserves because you never know when I'm going to drop a terror plot down on you, and it could hurt you. Sometimes a terror plot really doesn't hurt you. You just let them go off because it's not really going to affect very much.
And it's also my understanding it's hard for the U.S. to get three, so having that reserve is always good, right?
Yeah, it always helps. Now, weapons of mass destruction. If I start to get any of those terror plots, they go into one of my available terror plot, and then I secretly place things. So if I have nukes running around the board, it could be very nasty for you. So it's really important for you to try to not let me get those nukes. If I set a nuke off in the U.S., game over, I win. So you don't want me setting off a nuke on the Golden Gate Bridge.
Okay. Hey, what's a cadre, by the way?
A cadre is a a shit that comes out when let's say for instance that happened. Remember how you set my guy back this funding track from the Gulf states? Whenever my last cell is removed from a place, I put a cadre there, which allows me to go back and recruit there. Try to bring cells back into there. The only time that I do not get a cadre is if I voluntarily move out of a place. So if I was to take my cell from the Gulf states and move him to Saudi Arabia, like that, I would not get a cadre. But if you disrupt me out of there, or I do a jihad there and I'm unsuccessful and I have to go back to the funding track, then I would get a cadre. Okay, so we went over alerts. We're almost done. Deploy. This is how you move your troops around. You deploy. The purpose is to move troops. The target can be any Muslim country or the troop track. So you can pull troops from the troop track to any Muslim country, or you can take troops from one place on from one Muslim country and bring them back to the troop track. So for one op point, and the way it works is if you want to deploy troops into, let's say, Saudi Arabia right now, you would have to play a 3 card. And you can only deploy, as you will notice, in ally Muslims. So if they're neutral, you cannot deploy there. If they're adversary, you cannot deploy there unless they're Islamist rule. And then you're doing a regime change, which is right below deploy. And I'll get into that in just a second. So, and the troop track only costs 1 op card to go there. So let's say you want to pull those two troops out of Saudi Arabia and you want to put them back up on the troop track. You would have to play a one card because the troop track only takes a one card. You'd play a one card, you could take one or both of them and put them up there. Let's say you want to deploy 6 troops out of the troop track into Afghanistan and do a regime change. You would take all 6 and you would place them into Afghanistan. So I'm going to go over the regime change right now. The purpose for a regime change is to overthrow an Islamist-ruled government, and you would create an ally. So right now, I have Afghanistan is Islamist rule. If you want to do anything there, you must do a regime change. And to do a regime change, the way it works is you must, first of all, you must be hard. You must use 3 ops to do it. The result is you deploy 6 or more troops. All cells there go active. Shift it to ally and roll its governance. Place a green regime change marker on it, and you must roll for your prestige. Okay? So let me explain to you what that means. First of all, you deploy 6 or more troops. It's your choice. It has to be at least 6. All of my cells will flip over to active. We shift the Islamist rule to ally, and then we roll for governance. What that means, anytime we do anywhere in a Muslim country you see a whole bunch of them that are unmarked, we roll for their governance. On a 1 through 4, it's a poor neutral. On a 5 or a 6, it's a fair neutral. So this Islamist rule, I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to shift it to ally, and then I would roll for its governance. I rolled a 5. It would be a fair ally after you deployed 6 troops in there. Now, the kicker to this is until you get Afghanistan to good, your troops are stuck. You must always have at least 5 more troops than I have cells. So to be able to move out of there. So what that means is if I have 4 cells, you'd have to have 9 troops in there, and then the 10th troop could actually move out. So you're stuck at war there until you get it to